My parents always told me not to go into the woods behind our house after dark. It wasn't because of animals or getting lost. It was because of the well. They said it was ancient, that it had been there long before our house was built, and that it was bad luck. Nothing good ever came from that well, my dad would say, his voice low and serious. Of course, being a teenager, that just made it more tempting. My friend Liam and I used to dare each other to get close to it, but we never actually went all the way. It was just a creepy stone circle half swallowed by moss and ivy, with a heavy wooden lid that looked like it hadn't been moved in a century. One night, about a year ago, Liam didn't come home. His parents called mine, a frantic edge to their voices. The whole town started searching. They combed the woods, but they focused on the trails, the creek, the usual places a kid might wander off. I knew, though. I had this sick feeling in my stomach, a cold dread that coiled around my heart. I knew he'd gone to the well. He had been obsessed with it lately, talking about strange whispers he heard on the wind when he was near it. I'd laughed it off, told him he was watching too many horror movies. Now, I wasn't laughing. I waited until my parents were asleep, then slipped out the back door with a flashlight. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely hold it steady. The woods felt different at night. The familiar trees twisted into monstrous shapes, and every rustle of leaves sounded like something stalking me. When I reached the clearing, the well was just as I remembered, a dark blot in the moonlight. But something was wrong. The heavy wooden lid was slightly ajar. A sliver of blackness was visible, and a faint, sweet, cloying smell hung in the air like rotting flowers. I told myself to turn back, to go get my dad, to call the police. But I had to know. Pushing all my strength against the lid, I managed to slide it open just enough to peer inside. The beam of my flashlight cut through the darkness, and I almost screamed. Down at the bottom, it wasn't water. It was filled with old toys, dozens of them. Worn-out teddy bears, dolls with missing eyes, toy soldiers, all piled on top of each other in a grotesque heap. And on the very top, lying right in the center, was Liam's favorite red baseball cap. That's when I heard it. A faint whisper, seeming to come from the well itself. It sounded like a child, and it said, "Want to play?" I slammed the lid shut and ran. I didn't stop running until I burst through my back door, gasping for air, my heart hammering against my ribs. I never told anyone what I saw. How could I? They'd think I was crazy. They found Liam's backpack by the creek a week later and assumed the worst. The search was called off. The town moved on. But I can't. Every night, I dream of that well. I dream of the toys. And sometimes, when the wind blows just right, I can still hear a faint whisper coming from the woods. Want to play? I've boarded up my window, and I sleep with the lights on, but I know I'm still out there. Waiting. My parents were right. Nothing good ever came from that well. And I think something came out of it.